my channel Gardening with Nvart. In today's video I would like to share my project, my new project. I'm creating new flower bed, and creating new flower bed is very important. A flower bed or vegetables, for a bed for vegetables or anything that you would like to plant. It is the foundation of the planting. So in order for anything that you plant, in order for them to thrive, first we need to create a really good environment, good soil in which the plants are going to thrive, and that gives them a chance to really uh, go to their full potential and have healthy plants. So for example, this is the area I'm working on right now, and this is my way of creating it. I just wanted to share because I know there is so many ways to amend the soil, and there is so many ways to prepare soil and flower beds for your plants, but this is how I do it, and this is how I prefer to do it. So, and it is really hard work. Actually today it's a little tiring for me, but because I have been working on it for good maybe 2 weeks to get to this point. Because what I do is I basically dig and dig. First, what you have to do is outline your bed, or your place for your vegetables, or whatever the type of plants that you would like to plant in your beds. If you're creating a raised beds, that's a little different. But we do have a really good soil here in France, and it's very rich. It's an alkaline soil, but it's very rich and full of nutrients. So if you're creating raised beds for your vegetables, that's a different ways to do it. But for me, I like to use my soil because here in France we have a very rich soil, and plants just thrive in it. It's a great soil. The only thing for this soil is it does clamp. It's an alkaline soil, a kind of a clay a little bit. It's not totally heavy clay, but it is clay soil. And so in order for me to help that a little bit, what I do, I dig out, I take the turf, for example, the weeds, and just clear out the green areas, and I literally take a chunk of it. I try to take as much soil off of them as possible to put it back into the flower bed, and then I just discard all the rest of the stuff. But this gives me really good chance to start with barely any weeds or anything in the ground, and it is, if any weeds come up after that, it's just super easy. I think he's talking to me. So after that, it's very easy to just pull out the weeds. It comes out quickly because the soil is very fluffy. It's not compacted, so it's really easy to work with. It is a hard work in the beginning, but for me it's well worth it because truly my flowers and my plants grow really well, and I do it only once. So when I do it only once in the beginning of the time, and then I don't have to come back to it. What I do is after I'm finished, all I do is just cover the entire bed with the compost, and then just let all the earthworms take all the compost inside and incorporate with the soil over time as I keep piling new compost and covering and feeding all my plants. So, but in the beginning of the time, what I do is, for example, this time I purchased compost from the stores, which they're in this time of a year. The stores can have compost for not very expensive. For example, these bags that we purchased is about €3, and so I purchased them, and then I incorporate them with the soil. This particular type of compost that I purchased this time, it actually has some sand in it, which is very ideal to me. It's very ideal to incorporate with the clay soil because it really helps with the drainage. So what I do is I dig with my shovel. So this is what I've done, and this is how I've done my every single flower beds that you see around here that I have planted. They're all dug the same way and treated the same way. So this, I just wanted to show you. I know it's so beautiful, and when everything is blooming and green and beautiful, but there is a lot of hard work that goes in the beginning of the time before we accomplish the glamorous part. So it gets ugly before it gets pretty. And so what I do, I dig the dirt, I incorporate some compost in it as I go. So this soil, for example, I have incorporated compost and dug out. So you see it's very fluffy and it doesn't stick together. So this will be really good for a drainage, and to be able to be loose enough for the roots of the plants to develop. So anyway, so I just wanted to share that with you, but also I wanted to show you my new project that I started here. Um, my idea, we'll see if I can make this, we'll see if I can accomplish this, but my idea of starting part of this area to build Italian-inspired gardens. So I started building this part of it, and we'll see if this works out. But I, I do need to purchase more stepping stones because, due to COVID-19, all the stores are closed. We are in a lockdown, so it is almost impossible to get anything from the stores. So I have to be patient a little bit and go ahead and, finish out the details and do the finished work here. But this is going to hopefully set a tone, set a tone for Italian-inspired gardens on the other side of this arch. So I still have a little bit to go to dig and finish this flower bed, to connect all together, and then after that I'm going to plant. So I have lots of plants that I've planted, that I've ordered. They're coming, and some are already here, planned to go into the ground, and that will be whole another video for you guys to see, and I can show you in details everything that are going to go into the ground. And actually these planters here, I have to prepare them for the summer. So what I'm going to do is this lemon cypresses are also going to go into this flower bed, just because I think it will be lovely as a winter interest, and they can go to their full potential. They're just so lovely with this lemony color. And in a wintertime when there is nothing here, they will be here for winter interest, and it will be really nice structure for my flower bed here. And all of these guys are still blooming. They're so pretty. I planted them last fall. I think as soon as they're finished, I'm going to go ahead and plant them in a different area closer to the door, closer to the house, where I can see them when they bloom and start naturalizing a lot more. And then I'm going to use these containers for the summer and hope I can be finished here. So so this is my new project I've been working on probably last month. So before we end this video, I wanted to show you everything that is blooming right now, that are in completely open and in full bloom, full bloom. So in last video we filmed some of the tulips that were coming up already, but they didn't quite open yet. So right now everything is open and just looking lovely. So I wanted to kind of go around and to show you the rewards from after all this hard work. But the rewards are so amazing and so satisfactory that really makes it all worthwhile in the end to go through all of this hard work. My calla lilies are just blooming really beautifully right now. This is their second year. I planted them last spring, and now they're just doing so great. And we have more tulips here that I wanted to show. I don't know the type of these tulips, but I love the color. I think they are, I don't know, they just have this gorgeous Merlot color. So I wanted to share these tulips with you. Also, some of my pansies are doing so great right now. Edges of this pathway is, I have a whole bunch of sweet daffodils that are now opening. I think I planted lots of different ones, and I don't believe I planted that way. Maybe I did and I don't remember because it was last November. But these ones are so beautiful. They're miniature ones, and all the um, giant daffodils are all finished now, and we have all these small ones that are all coming out, so beautiful, just kind of dangling through the pathway. I love that. It's so pretty. And the tulips are so colorful right now, looking really, really good. Such a beautiful time of the year. Constantly something is in bloom. You know, one thing goes, the other thing comes out. It's just nonstop. It's such a gorgeous time of the year. My absolute favorite time of the year right now. Also here, my rose garden. I have in this formal rose garden, roses are doing really good. They all have buds on them. They're coming out. We'll do a whole another video when they all open. It's really, they're so pretty. They're all one variety, and they open. And this is so fun sometimes to plant in groups, like same type of flower. Just group them together, and then when they open with their color and the shape, it really gives you big impact because they're all grouped together like that. I really do love that type of planting. So right now I have all the angelic tulips here are in bloom, and and I don't remember planting them this way at all. I was so surprised because when they all came out, I was like, oh, I love the color combination. I must have thought about it and I forgot. And then it was a really nice surprise when they all started blooming. It was really pretty. All the tulips are doing great. I have coral sunset peony here that is just starting to open. Hopefully we'll do another video on peonies because I have quite a few peonies that are going to open. They are new though, they're very young. I just planted them last year. I was actually surprised to have so many blooms on this plant. I have 2 on the other one and 3 here. So I grouped 3 peony bushes here. They're same, they're coral sunset. This one didn't have blooms, but again, I just planted them last fall, so I was even surprised to have them. I was surprised to have these bushes bloom. And then we have roses already. The roses are coming out. This one is just so pretty. It's called Prince of Monaco. I love it. We purchased all of these roses from one of the growers here in France, and I can't remember the name of the city where they have their farm, but hopefully we'll go visit them again. All they do is just grow roses. They're so beautiful. All of these roses came from them. The other ones are peace, and they are going to open here soon as well. And then in this area, the tulips again. You guys, it's been such a pleasant. I've been so pleased with the colors and how the tulips did. They're so gigantic. It's amazing. Pansies are doing really great. I love the colors. They just go so well together. This one, rose bush, is a hybrid tea also. We purchased from the same grower. This one called Edith Piaf, and it's named after legendary singer, French singer, Edith Piaf, and it's a beautiful color, kind of a wine color almost when it opens. We'll do a whole another video. My lilac is blooming. It's in full bloom, actually starting to fade away a little bit, but it's doing really, really beautiful right now, and it smells so great. It's such a sweet smell. I have Marguerite Daisy here that's doing beautiful. I have so many blooms this year. I'm so pleased. I don't believe last year it performed as well as it did this year. I absolutely love it. Love the color. It's very, very healthy. I love looking at it. I get so excited talking about my plant. I love every single one of them. There is another rose bush here that I love. It's blooming right now. It actually starting to fade away a little bit, the flower, but as you can see, it has more buds on it, so it will flower more. But this one is so beautiful. It starts with a very creamy color in the center, and then it starts getting darker as it gets mature. So, and then I also wanted to show you really quick as an inspiration, because as I said, talking about treating the soil before you plant everything kind of takes the fun out of the gardening because, you know, when you think of gardening, you just think about pretty plants that we can plant and enjoy. But actually, all the pretty things doesn't come, you know, out of nothing. You have to do the hard, you have to put the hard work and then, you know, start having all the beautiful things. But I wanted to show you also my climbing rose here. It's doing really, really pretty. This climbing rose we purchased from our garden center here in Cass, and it's called Louis de Funes. Um, this rose, climbing rose, is named after a very well-known, very beloved comedian, Louis de Funes. I actually grew up watching his comedies in Armenia. I don't know if he was that popular in the US, but he was very popular all over the world. So I actually grew up watching him in the 80s, and I loved it. When I saw it, I was like, oh my goodness, I have to get this one. But I do love the color. Look at that. It's so beautiful. It has this gorgeous, wanted to, maybe you can show George, like this one particularly, before, when it opens early, it has such a beautiful apricot color. Absolutely stunning. Just love this rose. It's doing really good. I'm just learning how to prune the climbing roses. You know, I didn't have climbing roses in Colorado. Colorado was really cold, and climbing roses didn't really, I mean, for me maybe, but I couldn't really get them to really trail and get longer. So here I'm training myself how to prune them and how to train them. And so last year I started to do the right thing, I believe, with this rose, and this year you know, it already shows it's doing really good. So, and that will be all for today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did like it, please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time. Have a great day.